Tied up, shot clock winding down. Mark gets it off and down and
Three and one. One job. Said it all series long. Steal one away and handle business at home. Back-to-back wins in the Garden. Crucial wins in the Garden. First game was handled the way that you would expect this team to handle that energy that you guys put forth in that Garden.
cross the lane, stops and pops. Jalen Brunson putting on a show, and the Cavs need a timeout.
Second game, same thing. They slipped us up a little bit in the third quarter, but we survived the storm.
Barrett now on the drive. The floater's up. It's good. Josh Hart gives the Knicks another possession.
Now all we have to do is go and do what we've done all season long. Win an away game. I feel confident, man. I'm sure the Knicks feel confident, and I know you guys watching this video feel confident. Knicks in 5. It's a very big possibility, but it won't be easy. And I gotta be real with y'all, man. I can look at anybody doing all kinds of fun stuff on social media, but I ain't never had more FOMO than I did this past weekend. Seeing the energy and seeing what was going on in the streets of New York on 7th after these 2 victories. I wish I was there, but it makes me so happy to see us on the other side of this, having a good time, having fun, and playing inspired basketball. But the job is not done. Let's wrap this thing up this week. But we got a lot to talk about. I ain't gonna waste y'all time. Run the intro. What's going on, CK Cruise Boy, CK2K? Welcome back to another video. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Do not forget to like this video. And people, I'm not going to say it again. We've been doing it all series long. Join us over on Playback. If you haven't joined us by now, that is a you problem, not a us problem. We've been having fun, and it's been very, very lit. And we've been winning games since we've been over there, so y'all don't want to miss out. Julius Randle, he gets me that every game. Ow! Link is in the description. It's the first link in the comment section as well. Where do we begin here? We had 2 great games this weekend. We had a tremendous home opener on Friday in our first home playoff game in this series, where we saw a wire-to-wire victory from our New York Knicks in tremendous blowout fashion. RJ Barrett played probably his most efficient game of the entire season, but it's probably his most important game of the season, being that it was a playoff game. And if you ask me, I know people look at points only. RJ's only had 1 bad playoff game in this series. Yeah, he didn't score much in game 1, but defensively, the guy was really vital for our win in game 1. But game 2, I feel like the entire Knicks team played terrible, including RJ Barrett. But in this game, it was different on game 3. We also saw Jalen Brunson stand out, doing exactly what he's been doing all series long, and it resulted in a victory at home, comfortable victory. But we knew that the job was not done after game 3's win, because the importance of us winning this second home game on Sunday yesterday was through the roof. You win this game, we go up 3-1, and then our chances to wrap this series up in Cleveland, win a game away, which we've done already in the past. This win Sunday only feeds into that confidence of the possibility of us winning this game in Cleveland. And I'll be real with you, even though we had the lead, it wasn't the same kind of game that it was on Friday, because we did have a lead for the majority of the game, but it wasn't the biggest lead. It's just because of the energy of the Garden, it felt like we were up by so much more. And Cleveland exposed that in that third quarter. But the crazy thing is, as great of a run as Cleveland had in the third quarter, we still came out of the third quarter leading by 2, which then ultimately resulted in our overall victory against the Cavaliers. Again, we had another tremendous game from RJ Barrett. Hell, I would say even better offensively than for RJ Barrett in this one. The difference was in game 3, we saw him be able to hit the 3-point ball. but in this one he went 0 for 6. But it didn't matter because everything within the 3-point line was going in. He still shot 50% from the field, 9 of 18, and you take away those 3-point shots, he was 9 of 12 inside the arc. The entire team, free throw wise, in the playoff game really pissed me off. I'm not okay seeing, you know, the entire team 18 to 28 from the free throw line. I'm not a fan of that, but be that as it may, we weathered that storm as well. Like I mentioned, RJ Barrett just played tremendous basketball. He was so patient. I feel like this was another one of those games where you saw him make some great plays, make some great passes. Unfortunately, on the other side, they were not reciprocated and he did not get those assists. But regardless, it was just one of those great games from RJ Barrett. And it's good to see him make this turn in the playoffs. A lot of people who've been criticizing and very critical of RJ Barrett all season long are now taking that step back and, you know, giving us the conceited face because you look dumb. Let's be real. We're seeing what this kid's maturity is really all about, because you can miss me. I'll say this about any player. You can miss me with the kind of season you had in the regular season. If you don't show up in the playoffs, that's the real test to me of what kind of player you are. And RJ Barrett is showing right now that there's nothing that you need to worry about.
Jalen and Julius were very clear on what they got to do and what their role is for this team. RJ's, if it's a good day of shooting, I'm going to space the floor for them. If it's not, I'm going to attack, but I got to find my spots when Julius and Mitch and them aren't in my way. A series, he's had a chance to watch film, and this team is playing him the same way. Like yesterday, he's splitting Allen and Mobley and finishing at the rim. Like, that is pure. I've been studying these guys on film, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
And something else we don't need to worry about, Jalen Brunson. And I found it so funny how everybody was obsessed with his 3-point celebration. Bleacher Report going so far to say his new 3-point celebration. Jalen Brunson been doing this all season long. I've been asking for 2K. If you guys watch the playback streams, I've been asking for 2K to add the damn celly into the game because it's dope. It's fire. And I love how they're asking what the meaning of it was. And he's like,
and the guys want to know your 3-point celebration. Where'd it come from? What is it and where'd it come from?
Don't worry about it.
Oh, wow. Okay. You don't need to know, guys. You don't need to know. Congratulations, you guys. Congrats.
they don't got to worry about it, man, because the thing is, he lets them know. Now everybody catches on, and then it loses the magic. And I love that reaction and response with Jalen Brunson. But Jalen Brunson being efficient as hell, 50% from the field, 50% from the 3-point line. Sorry, 55% from the 3-point line. He was the only one that was 100%, even though he only took 2 free throws. Jalen Brunson was easily our star. He's easily been our superstar in this series. And that's another thing too, man. For those who were really believing that, yes, Jalen Brunson was going to have a good series, but really didn't think that he was going to be able to barely match up with Darius Garland, but then not even be in the same stratosphere as Donovan Mitchell. I hope you guys are really looking yourselves in the mirror and understanding who Jalen Brunson actually truly is. I can say it from now until the end of time. Regular season is one thing, but playoffs is a completely different story. Jalen Brunson, who has had a great season all year long, looks even better here in the playoffs. Yeah, in that third quarter, they bullied him a little bit, but that's what happens when you're that level of a player. You respond right back, and Jalen Brunson did that. And respect to Darius Garland, who for a few stints there really was trying to guard Jalen Brunson in this game. He said it himself that, you know, people pay to see the stars guard each other, and that's something I really do respect, because a lot of the time, especially if you're not one of the better defenders on your team and you're matched up against the other team's superstar, you don't see that person guarding the other team's superstar. And I'll give Garland credit for that. Now, mind you, it worked in our favor, but I gotta give him credit for that because you don't see that enough throughout the league. So I'm gonna give Garland credit for that, and he had a good run in the third quarter, but we still weathered the storm. I mentioned 2 of the best players in this game. I didn't even get to talk about Josh Hart. Josh Hart was tremendous. I mean, what was he? Josh Hart was, what, 7 of 16. You know, he just looked great in this game. He looked great in both of these games. Even though he wasn't offensively there in game 3, he still was tremendous for us, especially in this game where I was worried what we were going to get from him when he gets slotted into the starting lineup. And, you know, Immanuel Quickley hasn't been the greatest this series. So what happens when you take Josh Hart out of the bench, and who steps up on the bench? And that became Obi Toppin, who was our best player coming off of the bench. Now, mind you, Immanuel Quickley wasn't terrible. He wasn't great offensively, but defensively, he understood the assignment. He did a really good job matching up on Darius Garland and a few times on Donovan Mitchell in that second half. But offensively, he still having a hard time finding his offense. But before I talk about tough offense from Quickley and Julius Randle, I gotta give a lot of credit to Tom Thibodeau. I said on playback I was going to say this. While everybody was really up and down with RJ Barrett all season long, there's also been a crowd that's been pretty critical of Tom Thibodeau, myself included. I've been very aggressive when it came to Tom Thibodeau all season long. And in my opinion, I feel rightfully so. I still don't agree with going with a 9-man rotation so early on in the season. I'm still worried about, the end of season fatigue. I still don't like how he ultimately managed Obi Toppin throughout the regular season. A lot like we were talking about with Jalen Brunson and RJ Barrett. A lot of whatever he did in the regular season went out the window, and he is adjusted for what the playoffs entail. He's adjusted to the fact that he understands that it's not what his set rotation is, it's what works for his current matchups. And we saw Tom Thibodeau, hell, in all games, maybe but game 2, we've seen Tom Thibodeau in his coaching bag, and I have to give him credit for that. In the first game, knowing that Julius Randle hasn't played in 2 weeks, you saw him take Julius Randle out early, put in Obi Toppin, and leave Obi Toppin in for a good majority of the first and the second quarter. And that was the first, not red flag, but that was the first sign of what we're looking at right now. And the biggest alteration to what we're accustomed to seeing Tom Thibodeau do all season long came in the fourth quarter of this game. He ran with Obi Toppin and kept Julius Randle on the bench. That happened in a playoff game. A playoff game. Now, mind you, if this was a game in the middle of January or February, regardless of how bad Julius Randle was looking, or even if he was coming off of an injury, you better believe Obi Toppin was getting out of that game at the 8-minute mark so Julius Randle can close out the game however which way it looks. Tom Thibodeau decided to stay with Obi Toppin to close out the game. He also had Isaiah Hartenstein out there for the majority, but once Hartenstein started to get picked apart a little bit, he brought Mitchell Robinson right back out there, who Mitchell Robinson was also tremendous in this game. I didn't even get to talk about Mitchell Robinson yet, but for Tom Thibodeau to make those kind of adjustments in a playoff setting, everything I said to you guys who've been RJ Barrett haters all season long, I got swallowed the same pill when it comes to Tom Thibodeau. I apologize. His coaching in this series has been all I've been wanting to see from him all season long. I want him to understand the game at hand. I want him to understand the matchup at hand and be able to not necessarily match what you're seeing on the other side of the floor against the other team you're playing against, but be able to understand and utilize the team that you have and understand how you can mismatch what the other team is doing on the other side. And I think Tom Thibodeau did a great job with that this time. When they try to throw, players at Jalen Brunson offensively, or try to attack other guys that are weak on our side, he did a great job of adjusting. They started to attack Julius Randle a little bit there as well in the third quarter. We adjusted, and that got nipped in the bud immediately. And I got to give all that credit to Tom Thibodeau. So this is my apology to Tom Thibodeau. It ultimately is, I don't know if the beard is just a little bit more scruffy in the playoffs, so it's making you act right as a bearded brother. But yeah, you got my support. I'm still Johnny Bryant till I die, but at the same time, I got to give all the credit where credit is due to Tom Thibodeau for coaching the hell out of this team, at least so far in this series. Shout out to Tom Thibodeau. Again, and a huge shout out to Mitchell Robinson. I'm sorry I'm not getting enough time to talk about Mitchell Robinson, Josh Hart. Everyone played great, but I do want to say a few things about Julius Randle and Immanuel Quickley. Immanuel Quickley, who has been my X factor going into this series. I said that. A lot of people were worried about RJ Barrett. My thing was always Immanuel Quickley, and Immanuel Quickley throughout this series has not looked the greatest. In the one game he played well, it was game 2, but a lot of his points came in the garbage time, because when it was mattering and when we were fighting for the score, he wasn't really there offensively. I've said it in the first game, and I'll say it again after seeing the 2 games in the Garden. That doesn't look like my Immanuel Quickley. Immanuel Quickley is somebody that goes out there and looks confident, is dancing, full of energy, hyped up, and I don't feel like I've seen that yet in this series. Even with those 2 high energy home games, he didn't really seem like the Immanuel Quickley that a lot of us are excited to see. And I feel like we ultimately need that guy to have any sort of success or a deep run in the playoffs, because Immanuel Quickley is very important for this team. And defensively, I'm so happy to see him turn it around, because he looked really good in that last game defensively. But we can't keep using that argument if you're going to go 0 for 4 from the field. We need more from that, especially from a guy who was supposed to be the 6th man of the year this year. I'm looking at Immanuel Quickley as my X factor for this team, not only for this round, but if we are able to wrap things up in 5 or 6, I'm looking at him as my X factor in the next round as well. We need to utilize whatever he can give us off the bench. And then there's Julius Randle. I mean, there's still him fighting the injury. You heard Tom Thibodeau talk about it. I do agree with that. Yes, his play has not been good. Yes, you need him to step up as a superstar. But Tom Thibodeau said it best. There's a lot of guys in his position that would not be playing right now, and he's fighting through that. You can see the fatigue has always been an issue with him, and we do not know how much that ankle is really bothering him. So,
look, Julius is our horse, you know, and like he's given us everything that he has. You know, a lot of guys would probably wouldn't even be playing. So I knew that with the quick turnaround would probably impact him more than most players. He was out an extended amount of time. So we got multiple days here before the next game. He'll get a chance to get some recovery time, but I think that's a big part of it. So. But the thing I love about him is he gives you everything he has. So he's done that to come back the way he did to be ready for game 1. Credit to him.
I'm not going to ultimately tear Julius Randle down, even though he looked absolutely lazy in the third quarter defensively. I'm not going to ultimately kill Julius Randle, not yet, because again, we have to remember the kind of injury that he's still playing through right now. And Tom Thibodeau understood that and chose to not play him at all in the 4th. So I don't know if that's something we look at going forward. Maybe that's why it's for the best that we try our best to wrap this up in 5 so we can get him more rest and he can have a better second round. But yeah, it's ultimately not looking the greatest for Julius Randle. The offense doesn't really bother me right now because, yes, 7 points isn't great. But if you're seeing RJ Barrett pick up his slack, Jalen Brunson pick up his slack, and Josh Hart picking up their slack, that's the beauty of this team. We have depth. Another thing too is you see him settle for a lot of threes as opposed to him using his muscle and getting in the rim. But that's neither here nor there. Anyways, I've talked till I've turned blue about these last 2 games. I'm super excited. I know the job's not done yet though. That's why I can't get too party mode because I want to wrap this up on Wednesday. Do you believe that this Knicks team can ultimately end this in a gentleman's sweep on Wednesday in Cleveland, or do you think that we are going to be doing this again in the Garden, wrapping this up in 6? One way or another, we have this. We need to understand that, and we need to know that this job is not done. Do not get comfortable, Knicks. Act as if you're the one down 1-3. Finish the job. Let's get ready for the next round. If y'all haven't already subscribed, hit the notification bell or liked this video, please do so right now. Join us over on Playback so you guys can see all of these games with us live. You know the vibes, man. Knicks up 3-1. Give me the gentleman's sweep. I'm out of here. Let's get it. Appreciate you guys so much, man. Shout out to New York, bro. I gotta be there, bro. I'm so upset I missed those last few games. Anyways, I'm out of here. I'm out.
Cold pizza Tuesday. I got food up in the fridge. Y'all keep looking for that new way. I think I like it how it is.